You've got some very interesting new information on where the climate talks are at.
That's right, Kieran. I understand Scott Morrison has no plans to take a medium-term target different to Australia's current 2030 climate change target to Glasgow, and it is going to come down to a situation of net zero by 2050 or bust when it comes to taking a proposal to the Nationals party room next Sunday. The contest, several government sources have told me, is whether the PM commits to a net zero target by 2050 next week with a technology roadmap, or whether he says here is our plan to preferably get there. That is the nuance at stake here. Federal Cabinet had an initial discussion around committing to a plan for net zero yesterday. Now, the Nats meet on this issue this Sunday afternoon with a possible address from Energy Minister Angus Taylor, and the proposal then goes back to Cabinet next Wednesday for endorsement, just 1 week before Scott Morrison is due to fly out to Rome and Glasgow for the COP26 Climate Conference, if he goes. It's understood Scott Morrison favours a net zero target by 2050. Josh Frydenberg also favours a target. Even Barnaby Joyce will wear a target, several sources say. But there are elements of the Nationals and Liberal Party right wing who would prefer committing only to a plan to try to get to net zero by 2050 rather than the definitive target, just sticking with the technology roadmap. You would think that would be a tough sell at Glasgow when other countries are committing to net zero targets and medium-term targets. Cabinet ministers are concerned that the whole deal could fall apart if the Nationals refuse to adopt a target. As one National said to me, Scott Morrison, by moving so late, has boxed the Nats in, and they do not like being boxed in. But a Liberal MP said to me, the National Party has been run through this 8 or 9 times, and they're still saying this is a fait accompli. And another Liberal said to me, this is a test of Barnaby Joyce and whether he can keep his side together. So, as I said, no medium-term target. Just an update showing that Australia is beating its 26 to 28% target by 2030. Basically a projection, as I foreshadowed yesterday. Early discussions had been around a new 2030 target or even a 2035 target. Here is one of the difficulties for Scott Morrison in embracing net zero. Some of his followers from the Nationals or Liberal Party base think how contradictory this is when they have consistently won elections, including in 2019, by not committing to such ambitious climate goals. Here is Scott Morrison from the 2019 election campaign attacking Labor for an ambitious climate target.
A reckless target that will hit wages, that will hit jobs, that will hit production.
I don't believe I have to choose between our environment and our economy.
A rerun of failed policy.
This is coal. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
Today, he still can't tell Australians what the cost of his emissions reduction policy is on Australians. Tell us the price.
And here is the PM with his only public TV comments this week as he concentrates on trying to land a deal rather than doing media, where he says it is his job to bring the government together on this issue.
But we also must deal with the big challenges. Addressing climate change is a challenge that we must do together. As Prime Minister, it's my job to bring people together on dealing with this big change.
Yeah, so there you've got that, the challenge that he's articulated himself. The question is, can he achieve that? It remains a fluid one. And as you said, Andrew, so late in the piece as well that he's trying to knit this all together.
Well, the comment several times from several different senior people in government to me is we're not quite sure where we're going to land yet. And that's 2 to 3 weeks out from the climate conference, Kieran. So it does seem a peculiar position for a government to have over such an important issue, an issue which can really affect your economy and your international reputation. And it very much seems, all the mail I'm getting is that Morrison, Frydenberg and even Joyce are okay with this net zero target 2050. Bit of a win for Scott Morrison if he gets it through the Nats and pulls it off. but a rearguard movement saying, let's just go with the plan. Let's say we're trying to get to 2050. That's dependent on the technologies working. And as I said, that contradiction from the past comments, can that be levered against Scott Morrison and the coalition? That domestic political consideration versus the need, I guess, to come up with something that the US and UK governments want. They are giving us their nuclear submarine technology, or have promised us that in return. So they are expecting a showing at Glasgow and a net zero policy. But will Morrison get there? Perhaps little wonder he has been toing and froing about going to Glasgow. All the indications I have is he still intends to go. But could the Nats trip these things up on Monday? And you know, Kieran, you've seen many times well-laid plans, well-briefed plans just fall over because a PM cannot keep the right wing of that Liberal Party and the National Party together with him on this issue.